Gregory Peterson leaned back in his chair and rubbed his tired eyes. The midnight shift at NASA's Deep Space Communication Complex was usually quiet, but tonight something different had appeared on his screen, a pattern in the signal that wasn't random noise. He checked it again, then a third time. "Hey, Susan, can you look at this?" he called to his colleague across the room. Susan Miller walked over, coffee mug in hand. "What have you got?" "I'm not sure," Gregory said, pointing at his monitor. "But it's repeating every 108 seconds. Exactly." Susan's eyes widened as she watched the pattern cycle through again. "Get the director on the phone. Now." Within 48 hours, every major observatory on Earth had confirmed it. The signal was artificial. First contact with an alien civilization had been established. Scientists worked day and night to decipher the message. After 3 weeks, they had their answer. The aliens called themselves the Varaxian Hegemony, and they wanted to talk. The world held its breath as the United Nations prepared for humanity's first video conference with an alien species. The Secretary General stood before the assembled delegates, his face solemn. "Today marks a turning point in human history," he said. "We are no longer alone in the universe." The large screen at the front of the General Assembly Hall flickered to life. The creature that appeared had bluish-gray skin, 6 eyes arranged in a circle around a central horn, and spoke through a vibrating membrane beneath its chin. "Greetings, inhabitants of the third planet," the alien said, its words translated by computers. "I am Supreme Commander Zolfar of the Varaxian Hegemony." The Secretary General stepped forward. "On behalf of all humanity, we welcome you in peace and friendship." The communication seemed to go well until near the end. As Zolfar described the Varaxian civilization, he referred to humans as primitive insects. The translator paused, as if unsure of the wording, before continuing. Later, in a private meeting room, Earth's newly formed Alien Contact Committee discussed the exchange. "It must be a translation error," said Dr. Gary Wilson, lead linguist on the team. "Their language structures are bound to be different from ours." Ambassador Ellen Wright wasn't convinced. The rest of the translation was remarkably clear. Why would this particular phrase be misunderstood? Over the next few weeks, more communications followed. Each time, the Varaxians' tone grew increasingly condescending. They spoke of human technology as quaint and referred to Earth's military capabilities as amusing defenses. During the 5th communication, Ambassador Wright directly addressed the issue. "Supreme Commander, we notice your people often refer to humans in terms that might be considered diminutive. We wonder if there's a cultural misunderstanding." Zolfar's 6 eyes blinked in sequence. "There is no misunderstanding. Your species is indeed primitive by our standards. Your lifespans are brief, your bodies fragile, and your technology primitive. We view you much as you might view insects on your world. However, we are a benevolent hegemony. We offer protection to developing species." The room fell silent. Wright maintained her diplomatic composure despite the insult. "What form would this protection take?" "We would establish a presence on your world. In exchange for certain resources and partial sovereignty, we would shield you from threats you cannot imagine." After the transmission ended, the committee sat in stunned silence. Finally, General Joseph Davis of the United States spoke. "They don't just think we're primitive. They think we're helpless." Ambassador Wright gathered her papers. "Then they've made their first mistake. Humanity has never responded well to being underestimated." She looked around the room at representatives from every major nation. "I suggest we accept their offer of cultural exchange. Let them come see these insects up close. Let them think we're accepting their superiority." She stood up straighter. "And all the while, we prepare. Because if there's one thing history has taught us, it's that insects can survive almost anything." 3 weeks after the initial video conference, a Varaxian ship entered Earth's atmosphere. It landed in a cleared field near Geneva, Switzerland, chosen for its neutral status. The ship was smooth and oval-shaped, with a surface that shimmered like oil on water. Dr. Alan Blackwood stood beside Captain Samantha Martinez as they waited for the aliens to emerge. His hands trembled slightly, though he tried not to show it. "Nervous?" Samantha asked quietly. "Wouldn't you be? First humans to meet aliens face to face." She gave a small smile. "Just remember, they already think they know all about us. That gives us an advantage." The ship's surface rippled, and an opening appeared. 3 Varaxians stepped out. They were taller than humans, with 6 eyes and bluish-gray skin. They moved with a fluid grace that reminded Alan of cats. The lead Varaxian held up a device. "I am Science Officer Melix. We breathe your air but find your bacteria troublesome. We will wear these shields." Alan stepped forward. "Welcome to Earth. I am Dr. Alan Blackwood, and this is Captain Samantha Martinez." Melix's eyes blinked in sequence. "Your world is more colorful than our scans suggested." Over the next few days, the assessment team conducted various tests. They measured Earth's gravity, analyzed soil samples, and studied human technology with devices that hummed softly. Each evening, they returned to their ship. On the 4th day, Melix requested to observe humans in their natural settings. Alan took them to a busy shopping mall, a factory, a hospital, and a school. At each location, the aliens took readings and spoke among themselves in their clicking language. At the school, a young girl approached the aliens with curious eyes. "Are you really from space?" she asked. Before Alan could intervene, Melix responded, "Yes, small one. We come from a world 27 of your light years distant." "Do you have schools there too?" "We have learning centers, but our young develop much faster than yours. By your age, our children would already be specialized in their life functions." After the girl left, Alan noticed Melix making notes. "You seem interested in our children. Your development cycle is inefficient. You waste many years on basic learning, but it explains your species' limitations." Samantha, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. "What limitations do you mean exactly?" Melix seemed surprised by the question. "Is it not obvious? Your short lifespan, your need for specific environmental conditions, your slow learning, your physical fragility." He gestured to the people around them. "Look how easily you break. A simple fall can damage you." On the 7th day, the Varaxians requested a military demonstration. At a secure facility, Samantha arranged for them to observe a training exercise. Soldiers navigated an obstacle course while responding to surprise threats. Impressive for their capabilities, Melix noted to his companions, "They adapt quickly to circumstances." "Is adaptation not valued among your people?" Samantha asked. "We evolved beyond the need for such primitive responses. Our technology solves problems before they arise." Later, Melix presented Samantha with an unexpected scenario during the exercise, a simulated power failure that trapped soldiers in a dangerous position. Without hesitation, she organized a rescue, using only basic tools and quick thinking. The aliens watched with what seemed like mild surprise. "Interesting," Melix said, though that was instinctive behavior rather than true intelligence. That evening, back at the diplomatic quarters, Alan found Samantha staring out the window. "They really don't get it, do they?" she said quietly. "Get what?" She turned to face him. "That what they see as our weaknesses are actually our strengths. We adapt because we have to. We solve problems on the fly because our world has always been unpredictable." Alan nodded slowly. "And they've never had to." "Exactly." She looked back at the Varaxian ship glowing softly in the distance. They'd been the dominant species for so long they'd forgotten what it's like to fight for survival. "Is that good for us or bad?" Samantha's face hardened slightly. "That depends on what they plan to do next. But I'm starting to think these advanced aliens have a lot to learn about insects." 6 months passed since first contact. The Varaxian assessment team had departed Earth, leaving behind a small communication device for the United Nations to use. On a cool autumn morning, the device suddenly activated, projecting a hologram in the middle of the Security Council chamber. Grand Emissary Krull, a Varaxian with darker skin than the others, appeared before the assembled world leaders. His 6 eyes moved independently, seeming to study everyone at once. People of Earth, he began, the Varaxian hegemony has completed its assessment of your world. We have decided to offer you integration into our society. The Secretary General leaned forward. What exactly does integration mean, Emissary Krull? Your planet will become a protectorate of the hegemony. You will provide resources as needed, and in return, we will defend your world from threats beyond your understanding. And if we decline? Asked the French representative. All 6 of Krull's eyes fixed on the woman. That would be most unwise. The galaxy contains dangers your primitive species cannot imagine. Without our protection, you would not survive. How long do we have to consider your offer? Asked Ambassador Wright. We are generous. You have 1 standard Earth year to prepare. Our ships will arrive to begin the integration process at that time. After the hologram faded, the room erupted in concerned voices. General Frank Winters of the United States slammed his fist on the table. This isn't an offer. It's an ultimatum, he said. They're telling us to surrender or face destruction. Perhaps not, said Director Patricia Campbell of Global Intelligence. They've shown no direct hostility, just overwhelming superiority. General Winters snorted. Same thing in the end. We need to prepare our defenses. With what? Asked the Chinese representative. Their technology is centuries beyond ours. Ambassador Wright spoke up. Perhaps that's what we should let them believe. Later that day, in a secure underground room, Ambassador Wright met with a small group that included General Winters and Director Campbell. We need to appear compliant, Wright said. Let them think we're preparing for peaceful integration. Meanwhile, we gather everything we can about their technology. My people have been studying the communication device they left, said Director Campbell. It contains metals and compounds we've never seen before. Can we reverse engineer any of it? Asked the general. Not yet, but we need our best minds on this. Within weeks, the world's top scientists gathered at a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. Dr. Kevin Okafor, a physicist from Nigeria, and Olivia Reyes, a computer scientist from Mexico, led the research team. Their technology operates on principles we're only beginning to understand, Kevin explained during the first briefing. But there's something interesting about their communication systems. They use quantum entanglement, but in a way that leaves them vulnerable to certain frequencies. Vulnerable how? Asked General Winters. We're not sure yet, Olivia said, but we think their neural interfaces, the way they connect to their technology, might be disrupted by specific electromagnetic pulses that wouldn't affect humans. Meanwhile, around the world, governments began secret preparations. Military bases were built underground. Factories that officially produced civilian goods created components for weapons. Scientists shared discoveries across borders without the usual concerns about national secrets. Every time a Varaxian scout ship landed to collect samples or take readings, humans watched and learned. The aliens' disregard for human intelligence meant they took few precautions to hide their technology. At the 6-month mark, Ambassador Wright sent a message through the communication device. Grand Emissary, we are working to prepare for integration, but our society moves slowly. Might we request a 6-month extension to ensure a smooth transition? The reply came quickly. Of course, we expected as much from your species. You may have the additional time. We are not unreasonable masters. After the communication ended, Wright turned to General Winters. That buys us 1 full year. The general nodded grimly. Let's hope it's enough. For the first time in human history, nations that had been enemies for generations worked together. Russian scientists shared breakthroughs with American engineers. Chinese factories built components designed by European researchers. The threat from space united humanity in ways no earthly danger ever had. In a former missile silo in Kansas, Major Ethan Rivera trained his special operations team. They were soldiers from 12 different countries, chosen for their unique skills. The Varaxian scout ship lands every 14 days at these coordinates, Ethan said, pointing to a map. They stay for exactly 8 hours. Our mission is to get inside, copy their data, and get out without being detected. Nina Volkov, a Russian tech specialist, raised her hand. Their security systems are beyond anything we've seen. How do we bypass them? Ethan smiled. By thinking like insects. He pulled out a small device. This emits the same pheromones as a common beetle on their home world. According to the scientists, Varaxians find the smell disgusting. They'll avoid any area marked with it. 2 weeks later, as the scout ship landed in a remote area of the Australian outback, Ethan's team was ready. They used the beetle's scent to create a perimeter the aliens avoided, while the Varaxians collected soil samples half a mile away. The team slipped aboard their ship. Inside, they found a control room filled with screens showing strange symbols. Nina plugged a small device into what looked like a data port. The device contained software developed by Olivia Reyes specifically to copy Varaxian computer files. "I'm in," Nina whispered. Their security is actually quite simple. It's designed to stop advanced hacking, not basic copying. They never expected anyone to physically access their systems. 40 minutes later, the team slipped away with a treasure trove of technical data. Similar operations took place around the world whenever Varaxian ships landed. Each time, humans learned more about the aliens' technology. Meanwhile, in the underground lab in Colorado, Dr. Lisa Chen made an important discovery. She had been studying the brain patterns of the few Varaxians who had visited Earth, recorded secretly by sensors hidden in meeting rooms. "Look at these neural patterns," she said, showing a scan to Kevin and Olivia. "Their brains process information much faster than ours, but they're extremely sensitive to this specific frequency range." She activated a small device. The humans felt nothing, but every electronic screen in the room flickered. This frequency disrupts their neural links to their technology. To us, it's harmless. To them, it would be like suddenly going blind and deaf. "Can we weaponize this?" asked Director Campbell, who had been observing the demonstration. "We already have," Lisa replied. Small devices that emit this frequency could disable their ships temporarily, long enough for conventional weapons to do damage. Across the solar system, humans transformed space stations and satellites into military outposts, disguising them as research facilities when Varaxian ships passed by. Old nuclear submarines were converted into factories, hidden beneath the waves where alien scans couldn't detect them. 6 months into the preparation year, Ambassador Wright met with Varaxian representatives for a progress update. She showed them carefully prepared facilities where humans appeared to be getting ready for integration. "As you can see," she said, "we're preparing living quarters for your administrators and adapting our industries to produce the resources you requested." The Varaxian nodded, clearly pleased. "You are more cooperative than many species we have integrated. Perhaps you understand your proper place in the natural order." "We're a practical people," Wright replied. "We know when we're outmatched." Later, as she watched the Varaxian ship depart, General Winters joined her. "They really believe we've given up," he said. Wright nodded. "Their arrogance blinds them. They expect submission because they can't imagine resistance." "How much longer can we maintain this deception?" he asked. "Long enough," she replied. "The fleet is almost ready. A fleet of ships built in secret with untested technology against an enemy with centuries of space warfare experience." Winters sighed. "It sounds impossible." Wright smiled slightly. "That's the thing about us insects, General. We specialize in doing the impossible." The asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter had always been a place of rocks and dust. Now it hid humanity's greatest secret. Behind larger asteroids and inside hollowed-out space rocks, Earth's defense fleet took shape. Commander Daniel Hayes stood on the bridge of the EDS Defiance, Earth's first true warship built for space combat. Before the aliens came, He had captained nuclear submarines. Those skills, operating in stealth, managing a crew in isolated conditions, and thinking in 3 dimensions, made him the perfect choice to lead the fleet. "Status report," he said to his executive officer, Linda Wright. "All systems operational. The electromagnetic disruption weapon is installed and tested. The other 7 ships report ready status." Daniel nodded and looked at the view screen showing the fleet. The ships were small compared to Varaxian vessels, but they were built with everything humans had learned from studying alien technology. Each incorporated Dr. Chen's disruption devices and engines that used principles reverse-engineered from Varaxian scout ships. "Hard to believe we built all this in less than a year," Linda said quietly. "When humans are backed into a corner, we get creative," Daniel replied. "The Varaxians gave us no choice." The fleet consisted of 8 combat vessels and 12 smaller fighters. Hidden in separate locations throughout the asteroid belt, they could converge quickly when needed. Supply depots floated nearby, disguised as research stations. On Earth, the deception continued. Cities prepared welcome centers for Varaxian administrators. Factories produced the resources the aliens had demanded. To any Varaxian observer, humans appeared to be accepting their fate. As the deadline approached, more alien ships entered the solar system. They established an orbital command station above Earth, a massive ring-shaped structure with docking bays for smaller vessels. In the underground command center in Colorado, General Winters viewed satellite images of the station. "It's huge," he said, "bigger than anything we've built." "Size isn't everything," said Director Campbell. "Remember, the dinosaurs were big too. Didn't help them when the asteroid hit." "Speaking of asteroids," Kevin Okafor said, entering the room with Olivia Reyes, "we've received confirmation. The fleet is ready." Olivia handed the general a tablet. "We've identified what we believe is the Varaxian command vessel. According to the data we've gathered, their High Commander Zercox will arrive in that ship to oversee the integration ceremony." "When?" asked Campbell. 3 days from now. They're planning a formal ceremony where Ambassador Wright will sign an agreement surrendering Earth's sovereignty. The general's face hardened. "Then we have 3 days to finalize our plans." In orbit above Earth, the Varaxian command station bustled with activity. High Commander Zercox's personal shuttle docked with the station. He was greeted by Supreme Commander Zolfar. "The insect world is prepared for integration," Zercox asked as they walked through the gleaming corridors. "Indeed, they have been surprisingly cooperative. We've detected no resistance." "As expected. Their kind always submits when faced with superior technology." "Did they attempt to negotiate better terms?" "Briefly," Zolfar said. "I explained that we were being generous compared to how we've treated other primitive species." "Good. This integration should proceed smoothly. The hegemony will be pleased." In the asteroid belt, Commander Hayes received the transmission from Earth. It contained one word: ready. He turned to his crew. "This is it, the moment humanity has been preparing for. The Varaxians think we're insects, small, weak, and easily crushed. Today we show them what insects can do when their nest is threatened." He opened a channel to the rest of the fleet. "All ships, prepare to depart your hiding positions. Maintain stealth protocols until we reach Mars orbit. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. Every human on Earth is counting on us." The stealth engines hummed to life, barely audible even inside the ships. Like shadows moving through space, Earth's hidden fleet began its journey toward the unsuspecting Varaxian armada. The night before the integration ceremony, Earth's fleet approached Mars orbit. They used the red planet to shield themselves from Varaxian scanners. Commander Hayes sent a brief message to each ship captain. "Remember your training. Wait for my signal." On Earth, final preparations for the ceremony were underway. A large stage had been built in Geneva where Ambassador Wright would sign the integration document. Varaxian guards stood at attention, their weapons visible but powered down. High Commander Zercox surveyed the scene from his personal shuttle. "The insects have prepared a suitable venue," he said to Supreme Commander Zulfar. "It appears they understand the honor we bestow upon them." "Indeed," Zulfar replied. "Their cooperation has been exemplary. The hegemony will be pleased with our efficiency." Neither alien noticed the small devices hidden throughout the ceremony site, each containing Dr. Chen's electromagnetic pulse technology. In space, the human fleet split into 3 groups. The largest group, led by Commander Hayes on the Defiance, would target the Varaxian command station. The second group would engage any Varaxian ships that responded. The third, smallest group, led by Lieutenant Sophia Jackson, had the most dangerous mission: board a Varaxian cruiser and capture its navigation system. "All ships, final check," Hayes said over the secure channel. "Disruption weapons armed." One by one, the ship captains confirmed readiness. "Very well." Hayes took a deep breath. "Begin approach. Use the debris field for cover until the last possible moment." The Earth ships accelerated toward the Varaxian fleet, using asteroids and space debris to mask their approach. The alien scanners were designed to detect advanced propulsion systems, not the hybrid engines the humans had built. On the Varaxian command station, an officer approached High Commander Zercox. "The human representative is ready to sign the document, sir." "Excellent. Inform Supreme Commander Zulfar to begin the ceremony. I will observe from here." On Earth, Ambassador Wright walked onto the stage. Cameras broadcast the event worldwide. She approached the document table with a pen in hand. "Before I sign," she said to the Varaxian representative, "I have one question. What exactly will happen to Earth after integration? Your resources will be harvested efficiently. Your people will serve the hegemony in roles suited to your limited abilities. It is an honor few species receive." Wright nodded slowly. "I see. And if we were to decline this honor?" The alien's 6 eyes blinked in confusion. "That is not an option at this stage. The ceremony is merely a formality." Wright smiled. "Actually, it's a distraction." She pressed a button hidden in her sleeve. Throughout the ceremony site, the hidden devices activated. The electromagnetic pulse was harmless to humans, but the effect on the Varaxians was immediate. They clutched their heads in pain as their neural links to their technology failed. In that same moment, Commander Hayes gave the order: "All ships, attack now." The Earth fleet burst from the cover of debris, firing weapons directly at the Varaxian command station's communication array. The aliens, caught completely by surprise, scrambled to respond. "What is happening?" demanded Zercox as the station shook from the impact. "How did they build ships without us knowing?" "Unknown, High Commander," an officer replied. "Our long-range scanners are damaged. Communications with the surface are disrupted." On her small fighter craft, Lieutenant Jackson led her team toward a Varaxian cruiser. "Remember, aim for their engine section," she told her pilots. "Once we disable it, we board through the maintenance hatch we identify from the scout ship data." The Earth fighters fired precision shots at the cruiser's engines. The Varaxian ship, designed to withstand advanced energy weapons, had no defenses against the simple projectile weapons the humans used alongside the disruption technology. "Engine disabled," Jackson reported. "Boarding team, prepare for insertion." Her fighter docked with the disabled cruiser. She led her team inside, weapons ready. The Varaxian crew, still disoriented from the neural disruption, offered little resistance. Back at the command station, Zercox watched in disbelief as human ships destroyed one Varaxian vessel after another. "Impossible," he whispered. "They're just insects." The battle raged for hours. Human ships darted between larger Varaxian vessels, using their smaller size and greater maneuverability as advantages. 3 Earth vessels were destroyed, but they took down 7 Varaxian ships in the process. On board the captured cruiser, Lieutenant Jackson's team worked quickly to secure the ship. Most of the Varaxian crew had been incapacitated by the neural disruption, but a few fought back. Jackson led her team through the winding corridors until they reached the main control room. "Secure the navigation systems," she ordered. "Download everything." A technician plugged a device into the alien computer. "This is incredible," he said as he worked. "Their star charts, their communications protocols. We're getting it all." Jackson looked out the viewing port at the battle. The Defiance was engaging the Varaxian command station directly. Small explosions dotted the station's surface, where Commander Hayes had targeted weak points. "We need to get this data back to Earth," Jackson said. "Prepare to detach." Before they could leave, a hidden door opened. A Varaxian stumbled in, clearly injured but still dangerous. Jackson raised her weapon. "Wait," the alien said in halting English. "I surrender." This was unexpected. The team exchanged glances. "Your name?" Jackson asked, keeping her weapon aimed. "Vexor. I am scientist, not soldier." The alien's 6 eyes blinked rapidly. "How did you defeat our neural defenses? It should be impossible." Jackson smiled. "You underestimated us. A common mistake." Meanwhile, the Defiance had forced its way into the command station. Commander Hayes led a boarding party that fought through to the central command chamber. They found High Commander Zercox attempting to send a distress signal. "Step away from the console," Hayes ordered. Zercox turned, his eyes narrowing. "You primitive creatures, you have no idea what you've done." "We've defended our world," Hayes replied. "Something you thought we couldn't do." "Defended?" Zercox laughed, a strange clicking sound. "You think the hegemony is your enemy. We are merely servants. The Cortexian Dominion will destroy you for this." "The what?" Hayes asked, confused. Before Zercox could answer, alarms blared. "Self-destruct sequence initiated," announced an automated voice in the Varaxian language. "Everyone out now," Hayes shouted. His team retreated to their ship, forcing Zercox to come with them. The Defiance detached from the station just before it exploded. The blast disabled several other Varaxian ships, giving the humans a decisive advantage. Within another hour, the remaining alien vessels had either been captured or destroyed. Back on Earth, in the underground facility in Colorado, Dr. Nathan Powell examined the data from the captured cruiser. The Varaxian prisoner, Vexor, had been brought there for questioning. "These star charts show thousands of worlds," Powell said, looking at the holographic display. "Many are marked as integrated or harvested." Vexor, secured in a specially designed chair, nodded. "The hegemony has existed for millennia. But we are not the rulers of space you believe us to be." "Explain," demanded General Winters. "We serve the Cortexian Dominion, a much larger empire. The Varaxians are merely one of many servant races." Vexor's eyes focused on Powell. "We were sent to integrate your world because you were deemed insignificant." "Insignificant?" asked Ambassador Wright. "You called us insects." "Yes. Small, short-lived, limited." Vexor paused. "But we were wrong. No other species has ever resisted integration once it began. Never in our recorded history." "What makes us different?" asked Powell. "Your adaptability is unique. Where we evolved in stable environments that encouraged specialization, you evolved under constantly changing conditions." Powell leaned closer. "And that's important because it means you can do what we cannot: improvise, create new solutions to unexpected problems." Vexor looked around at the humans. "What you call ingenuity, we lost long ago through technological dependence." General Winters frowned. "Are you saying the Dominion will come for us now?" "Eventually. When they learn what happened here." Ambassador Wright exchanged glances with Powell. "Then we better prepare. And this time, we have an advantage." "What advantage?" asked Vexor. Wright smiled. "You." Word of the Varaxian defeat spread quickly across nearby sectors of the galaxy. The Cortexian Dominion, which had ruled for thousands of years, called an emergency council meeting. Never before had a primitive species successfully resisted integration. Meanwhile, on Earth, humans worked rapidly to prepare for what might come next. With Vexor's help, They improved their understanding of alien technology. The Varaxian scientist, initially a reluctant ally, grew to respect the humans he worked with, especially Dr. Powell. "Your species learns faster than any I have encountered," Vexor told Powell as they examined a damaged Varaxian ship. "It would take our young decades to master what you have learned in months." "Necessity," Powell replied. "When survival is at stake, humans become very motivated students." 6 months after the battle, sensors detected a new ship entering the solar system. It was 3 times larger than any Varaxian vessel, with a sleek design that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "The Dominion has sent an envoy," Vexor said, his voice tense. "A diplomatic vessel, but make no mistake, it carries enough firepower to destroy a small moon." Ambassador Wright prepared to meet the Cortexian representatives in a neutral location, a space station humanity had built in orbit using captured Varaxian technology. When the alien shuttle docked, Wright stood ready with General Winters and Dr. Powell. The being that emerged was unlike anything they had seen before. Tall and slender with reflective silver skin, it moved with graceful precision. "I am Nexer, emissary of the Cortexian Dominion," it said, its voice oddly melodic. "I come to understand how insects defeated our servants." Wright stepped forward. "We prefer to be called humans, and we didn't just defeat your servants. We captured their ships, learned their technology, and improved upon it." Nexer seemed unmoved. "An amusing novelty. But do not mistake our curiosity for concern. The Dominion has ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. One minor setback means nothing." General Winters gestured toward a viewport showing Earth's new defense fleet. Where before there had been only 8 warships, now 50 vessels orbited, built using Varaxian designs, but with human improvements. "Our minor setback means everything to us," he said. "And we've been busy." Nexer studied the fleet. Impressive for such a young species, but ultimately futile. "The Dominion has millions of ships across thousands of worlds." "Perhaps," said Dr. Powell. "But there's something you should know about us insects. We reproduce quickly. We adapt. And most importantly, we share." He activated a screen showing transmissions going out to dozens of worlds, planets previously integrated by the Varaxians. "We've sent the plans for our neural disruption technology to every world in the former hegemony. They're rising up as we speak." For the first time, Nexer showed emotion, a slight widening of its silvery eyes. "Impossible. They would need centuries to develop it themselves." "Yes," interrupted Wright. "But we've done the work for them. They just need to build it." And they are. Another screen activated, showing reports from across the galaxy. Planets that had been under Dominion control for generations were declaring independence, using Earth's technology to fight back. Nexer was silent for a long moment. The Dominion did not anticipate this. "You made the same mistake the Varaxians did," Wright said. "You saw our short lives and fragile bodies and thought us weak. You never considered that our very weakness might be our strength." "Explain," demanded Nexer. "Because we live such short lives, we value them more. Because we break easily, we learn to fix things. Because we're vulnerable, we collaborate." Wright stepped closer. "We're not looking for war with the Dominion, but we won't be ruled either." "What do you propose?" asked Nexer. "A new relationship, not between masters and servants, or between advanced beings and insects, but between equals with different strengths." Nexer considered this. "The Dominion has never negotiated as equals with a non-spacefaring race." "Then it's time for something new," Wright replied. "After all, even the mightiest civilizations need to adapt sometimes." As Nexer departed to relay this message to the Dominion, Vexor turned to Powell. "Do you think they will accept?" Powell looked out at the stars. "They'd better. Because if there's one thing Earth has proven, it's that size doesn't determine strength. And those who underestimate insects often find themselves dealing with the entire hive."